Hey guys, what's going on? It's Danny here, aka the Music Hermit, back with another guitar video. And today I want to talk to you about bar chords, more specifically how they're built and why we use them. Let's check it out. Right, so first things first, what are bar chords? Now, there's many ways to approach this. The way I like to explain it is, let's look at what they're not. So if we take the chords you'd first learn when you're starting to play guitar, we call them open chords, right? You've got your C major, your G major, your D major. Why do we call them open chords? We call them open chords because they make use of certain open strings on the guitar. So if we're playing C major, we've got the open G there, the open E there, right? Now, in some cases these can work, but there's a lot of situations where we can't use open chords, whether it's because of a open string that clashes harmonically with the chord, or maybe we don't like the sound of it, we want it to sound a different way. Whatever the case may be, open chords have function, but they're relatively limited, especially once you start to get into playing more and more songs. You're going to find that you can't do everything just with open chords. Now, in terms of transposing, when we say transposing, we mean changing the pitch, okay, of a particular chord. A lot of people use this. That's a capo. What a capo does, you might know this already, but I'll show you anyway, is basically it allows you to keep on playing the open chords but transposing the key. So for example, let's say I've got a normal G major here. If I put a capo on the 2nd fret, then that capo becomes the new nut. The nut is here. So it becomes 0 point where the frets start, meaning all the frets behind it don't count now. And you start from here. So that's 0, that's 1, 2, 3. So G major would be played here now. Now that's no longer a G major. I think the capo has put the guitar out of tune a bit, but that's fine. Okay, that now becomes an A major because we've transposed it using the capo. Now, what if, like me, you don't like using a capo that much? Or, yeah, that was the capo hitting the floor, by the way. Take care of your gear, guys. Don't do what I did. Or, you know, you like to use it, but in some situations you can't really, it's not that much of an option. So, that's where bar chords enter the picture. What bar chords are, effectively, are you using your own index finger as a movable capo on the guitar, right? So, in order to understand this, let's take a closer look with a real life example. Now, you can do what I'm about to show you with any open chord, but the most common and easy two chord shapes to use for this are the E and the A shapes. They're the most commonly used. There is a system called the caged system. Again, it's not the scope of this video. Just keep in mind that what I'm about to show you is not limited to just the E and the A shapes, but they are the easiest to apply first. So let's start with the E shape. What do I mean by this? Let's say I'm playing an E major, standard E major up here in an open chord position. Now, this is the finger combination that most would use because it makes a lot of sense, and that's fine. As a thought experiment, let's do this now. Let's change the fingers around. So I'm freeing up my index finger, which will, remember, act as my capo now, all right? And I'm going to place the index finger behind the nut of the guitar, so technically on fret 0, right? So what happens if I do that? Nothing. Why? Because pressing down on the strings behind the nut doesn't do anything, unless you're, So as a thought experiment, let's just do that. Let's say I change that, E major. It doesn't make sense to play E major that way because it doesn't add anything and it makes the finger combination more awkward. But what happens now if I shift this whole pattern here up by 1 semitone? That, ladies and gentlemen, is a bar chord. More specifically, that's an F major bar chord. Now, why is it an F major bar chord? Let's take a look. If I'm playing E major like this, what determines the E? The E is the root note of the chord. Now, you don't always play the root note of the chord as the lowest note in the chord, but for simplicity's sake, let's assume we're doing that. And to be honest, a lot of the time, especially in the beginning, that's what you're going to be doing. So a lot of the times you'll find that the lowest note in terms of pitch is also the root note of that chord. In this case, it's an E. It's an E major and this is an E. So if I'm doing this and then changing this up, what's happened? Now the root note, what's the lowest note here? What's this note? That's an F, right? So F major now. Why? Because we've shifted by one semitone, one fret from E major with an imaginary bar, with an imaginary capo, sorry, using the index finger, to F major. What if we shift it up by one other semitone now? One semitone up from F major is F sharp major, and in fact, we can check because this note is an F sharp. That's G major, G sharp or A flat major, A major, blah blah blah. You can keep on going as long as you like. So you can hopefully now already see the power of bar chords. You can play pretty much in any key, and you're not limited to open strings or to having to use an actual capo all the time. Now, what I've done with an E major, I can do with pretty much any other open chord shape. So I can do it with E minor. So let's say I want to play minor instead. Same thing. Now that's F minor. Now that's F sharp minor. That's G minor, okay? That's F major. That's G minor. Okay, so now we've looked at the E shape. Let's take a look at the A shape. It's exactly the same principle, just using a different open chord as the base to form bar chords, right? So if we take an A major, which you can play like this or like this, okay? In this case, I'm going to play in this way with these fingers, so I can have the imaginary capo here, or index finger acting as a capo. Again, it's not doing anything because it's behind the nut, but once I move that up by one, again, same thing. So now that's gone from an A major to one semitone up, transposing one semitone up, changing the key or the pitch of the chord by one semitone. It's now a B flat major. Up by one, it's now a B major, C major, C sharp, D flat major, etc, etc. Obviously you can then choose whatever finger combination you like. I actually like playing these chords with a flattened ring finger like this, but that's entirely, you know, I just find it easier to then go into other chord shapes. But anyway, that's entirely up to you. It's not the purpose of this video. So guys, that's really it in terms of building bar chords. You can take any chord shape that's an open chord and use it as a template, like a stamp, like a rubber stamp, and then use that rubber stamp to sort of move your index finger around to play in any key that you like, that you want to play in, okay? So that's it for today, guys. I hope this video has been useful to you. As always, let me know in the comment section if you found it useful and helpful, and if there is anything that you'd like clarification with. Also, if there are any other topics that you'd like me to talk about, make a video on, please do let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. Like and subscribe to the channel as well, because I've got a lot of content coming out all the time, which I'd love to share with you guys. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.